Let's switch things up. Let's talk a little hoops this morning, as we have been meeting over the course of the last couple of weeks. The new members, and it's entirely new, obviously, of the Maryland basketball team. And the most recent one to get into the fold, someone whose path to Maryland is very interesting, right? Like coming from Germany to Northeastern to now he's going to be a rim protector for Buzz Williams and the Terps. It's a pleasure to welcome in this morning Collin Metcalf to GCR. Collin, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to meet you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us, and congratulations on being a Terp.
No, I really appreciate you guys having me on here. Super excited for my journey. It's been a long one. A lot of years, a lot of work towards basketball and getting to this point. So it's been very exciting.
Collin, can you, for people that don't know your story, right, can you take us, like when you say journey, that is the word that comes to mind for me, right? Like,
yeah.
You've been everywhere at a very young age. Can you kind of give us the thumbnail of your background, from Germany to how you ended up there to now to getting to Northeastern, ultimately now to Maryland?
So I was an Army brat, so never really had like one place that I lived for a long time. Was born in New York, stayed there for 2 years. Don't remember the lick of it. Moved to Texas where my little brother was born. We were there for about 3 years. We were in El Paso. Then moved to Germany. We were there for like 5 years. Then moved to South Korea, and I spent the rest of my time there until like all the way through high school. And then I came back to the States for 1 year, did a prep year at Mercersburg Academy. It's a little north of like Maryland, so I'm very familiar with the area, very familiar with Frederick. And then from Mercersburg in Pennsylvania, I went right to Northeastern, and I was there for 3 years and finally decided to hit the transfer portal. I had played a lot of time there, and I think I was ready to make a next step in my life. So,
Collin, it's funny because I think a lot of people with youth sports would say it's a benefit to have the same coach or to be in the same place around the same guys for some time. On the flip side for you, having sort of jumped around at an earlier age, what were the benefits of that for you? Maybe just, being comfortable around new people. Like you're going to be thrown into a group of most of these guys. There's a couple guys that played together at A&M, obviously, but most of these guys are going to be entirely new. Do you feel like hey, I've done that before. I'm going to be totally good with it.
Yeah, totally. I think one thing that Army brats they get a good experience with is just having to make new friends in a quick time frame. So for a lot of years, it was like I had a friend and he was there for maybe 2 years and he was gone. And then it was like now I had to make new friends and have to meet new people and have new experiences. So it kind of like gets you out of your social bubble. So for me, it's not so much coming to this experience, oh, am I going to blend well with these guys? I've done a very good job my whole life of just trying to make friends in new areas, meeting new people. My favorite thing to do is if I have the time or if I see maybe like someone's off to the side, maybe not involved with everything, I like to just chat with people and just get to know who you are as a person, kind of like meet new people, make sure I have good connections. And that way I'm not lost. If I ever need some help, I know I can call on somebody and I know who they are and they know who I am. So
that's cool, man. Does that come naturally to you, or is that something that, like, again, to your point, is just that's what you had to do in going to all these new places just to get to know guys?
So it's a little bit more natural to me because my like parents, they're from both sides of the world. So my dad, native of Texas, he's from Dallas, Oak Cliff, Dallas, and my mom, she's a German native. She was born and raised in Germany, and then they had me and my 3 brothers. So I come from a big family. Dad's side of the family, he has 5 sisters. I got like 1,000 cousins over there. So I've always come from a big family. So getting to know people was like awkward at first when I was a little bit younger, probably like 7, 8 years old. It was a little awkward. But as I got older, I started seeing that you're in a big family. Like you have to be social. Like you can't kind of hide from anybody. So my brothers, they did a very good job of making sure I was social. They're all their friend groups and stuff like that. It was very easy just growing up and becoming like the social butterfly that I am.
I feel like that's going to be huge with a new group of guys. It's all coming together. I'm sure they're going to be leaning on you to sort of be the one that brings everybody together. Collin Metcalf, incoming Terp, with us here on GCR. Collin, the first couple of years at Northeastern, I know the minutes were a little bit more sparing, but becoming a starter this past season, did you know, hey, once I get my opportunity, everybody's going to see what it is that I have to offer? Or did you deal with any, like, doubt, like, going into it? Like, man, I don't know. I haven't the first couple of years maybe haven't gone the way that perhaps I envisioned them going at the college level.
I think for me, it was kind of just a reset of high school. So for all of my high school years, I had the star brother. He was player of the year. He was number one player in the region when we were overseas. He was just like the best of the best. So I'm kind of coming from a spot where I'm used to riding the bench. I'm used to being a supporting role. I'm not like much the starter, but I understood what was asked of me when I started. So as soon as I started, I understood that, hey, like, you may not be the number one scorer in the nation. You may not be the top rebounder in the nation, but go out there and do what you do well. Go out there, play defense, be the vocal guy.
Right.
Be the guy when you're on the bench, be sure you're cheering on your teammates, be the best teammate possible. My dad is always implanted into me, be a hard worker, be ready for the responsibilities that you're given, and just be who you are and excel at that. Don't try to be somebody else.
That's cool, man. The block thing, right? Like
Yeah.
is that always been part of it? You mentioned defense, but specifically blocking shots and protecting the rim like that. Is that something that's always come naturally to you, or was that maybe like, oh man, I can do this, like that? Yeah.
I think I played volleyball in high school.
Okay.
So I got a lot of my like technique from there. I got a lot of my groundwork from there on just tracking the ball, seeing where it's at, and kind of just swinging at it and making sure it kind of stays in balance. But in high school, I kind of learned how to do that. But getting into college, it was good being on the bench because I got to see how to block in a way that's effective and not just going out there chasing a block. Oh, I can go block this, but it's going to be like the best time to block the ball. So it's been an adjustment trying to do that in college, but I feel like I've been trying to pick up where I started at in high school, and it's been a good experience for me. And especially this last year starting and getting to see all the talent that I saw coming into this year, playing guys like Xavier Lee, playing over at Northwestern, and just seeing some of like the bigger competition and seeing like, okay, how do I adjust myself so I'm playing with these high level athletes? How do I block them, and how do I affect the rim enough to where either I'm blocking a shot or altering a shot?
Obviously, Tyler Tejada probably on that list as well, who we of course know well here in Baltimore, and we're excited that he didn't transfer. Actually, that's great news. Collin, the why Maryland thing. I feel like the parts of this are obvious, right? Like it's an opportunity to step up a little bit in competition. There does seem to be some room in the front court for you to get minutes. But can you take me through like how it came about that Maryland and playing for Coach Buzz, that was the right decision for you to make after you had entered the transfer portal?
I think it kind of comes down to two things. So in late April, when I was kind of just like going through the mess of sorting through all the schools who had reached out, a lot of like mid majors. There was like some good opportunities in the Mountain West. But Coach Rockefort, one of the assistant coaches on the staff, had reached out to me, and he kind of had this fire about him that he kind of was just like, we need you on our team. Like, you're a great aspect to a defensive style that we play. And he kind of just talked to me about like how Maryland plays. Well, not Maryland, but how kind of they played over at Texas A&M, and how Coach Buzz sets up his defense and how I could thrive in that defense. And the second part of that is like knowing so many guys from the Maryland DMV area. Maryland's a big school. It was always a dream of a lot of my friends. It was always highly talked about. And so with Coach Buzz and just their basketball, just like greatness, they always go everywhere they win. It was just an easy decision for me. As soon as I heard Maryland was calling, and as soon as I heard Coach Buzz is going to be there, and all the good things that everybody had said about Coach Buzz, I was like, this is the place for me. It's going to be a great fit.
One of the things that's interesting to me time-wise, and because I think there have been some rumors that perhaps you had made this decision like a while ago, and it just wasn't announced until this week. So maybe I'm wrong in my premise. My premise is that you, unlike some other guys, had the opportunity to start to see how the roster was coming together and maybe get a feel for not just your role, but what this group was going to be capable of. And was that part of this, and looking at the roster and saying, wow, like look at all these pieces they brought in, a Darius Adams, a Miles Rice, that like there's a real chance to win in Coach Buzz's first year at Maryland?
I think I was very eager to commit early, and I kind of like had said that to the assistant coach, Coach Rockefort.
Yeah.
and I was kind of just like, I'm ready to sign whenever Coach Buzz is ready to accept me.
Huh.
And it was kind of just, it was a neat experience to see all the players that were coming along. But I think I trusted Coach Buzz. He comes up, and every conversation I've had with like agents, prep school coaches, high school coaches, and just like some of the college coaches as well. And I trust that he's going to bring in every good piece. He's a man that takes his time with the recruiting process. He'll test your character. I think one of the big things that solidified it for me when I went on the visit was he was like, "Hey, it's not mandatory or anything like that, but tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., we're going to be working out." I saw that, and I was kind of just like, wow, like went in there. It was all just me and the coaches. Everybody was lifting. Everybody was working hard.
Wow.
It was just seeing that the coaching staff is going to work just as hard as we are was just beautiful to me. And it creates a culture that you want to be in every day.
A lot of Maryland fans, Collin, are worried, right? Like, whenever there's a coaching change in college basketball, like, there's always the thought that, like, it might take a little while. When you see that buy-in, do you have that feeling like it's not going to take a little while? Like, we're hitting the ground running here at Maryland.
Yeah, I think Maryland made the best decision they could have. Coach Buzz, he's an amazing guy, and he's not just bringing around, he's not just going around, oh, like I need staff members. What's my applicants? He's bringing in guys that he's known for like years. Some of these coaches he's known for almost 2 decades. He trusts every guy on his staff, and he's going to trust every guy on his roster. So he knows exactly what he's bringing in. He knows exactly what is going to get it done. He's seen it before. He's been coaching for like 20 plus years. He's going to get it done, and he's going to be doing the best he can. So I think Coach Buzz, he brings in all this experience, all this knowledge. As long as the roster just sticks to his plan and we all just buy into what he's selling, I think Maryland's going to be just in the same spot as they were last year.
I dig it, man. Obviously you mentioned your time at Mercersburg and maybe knowing the area a little bit better. Do you already have like 4 or 5 things with the state flag printed on it? Like, do you already have some shirt? Because you got to know that's just the obsession. Like, that's what the next year of your life is going to look like, is just the flag everywhere.
Yeah, I'm excited to go out there and finally get some Maryland gear. Have the flag on there. I think might have to get a flag for my room, so that way if anybody comes over,
yeah, right. They know.
Like that.
They know, right? Like, this is who you are. This is what you're getting into. And then, Collin, just like, what's something we should know about you, right? Like, when you're not playing basketball, when you're not, moving around the world as an Army brat. Like, what's something that, your interests, that go beyond the court?
I think my biggest thing is just giving back to the people who support you. I'm a big believer in public service. My mom, she was in childcare. My dad, he served for 25 years. So I'm just a big time believer in, these families. They're coming out to the games. They're paying to come see us. They're giving up their time, their energy to come like support us. I love giving back to the community, whether that's just going out and talking to kids for like a 30-minute talk, or spending 2-3 hours after the game, signing stuff. I think if you talk to a couple fans out of Northeastern, I spend a lot of chunk of time.
That's awesome.
After games, just sitting there. Fans would just be kind of walking through. People would stop me, and I'll stop for anybody. I'll talk to anybody. I just want to see who you are. I just want to see why you're so invested in the community and obviously in supporting us.
That's awesome, dude. Good on you, man, for that being a priority. That's tremendous. I love that. And I got 2 young sons. They're 10 and 7, and so at some point they're going to come hound you after a game next season. I have no doubt that's the case. Yeah, go ahead, Griffin.
Yeah, Collin, I'm a Towson grad. I'll preface it with that. But now that you're out of Northeastern, you just wanted to admit, you were sick of Towson, kind of taking your lunch money every time they went up there. Is that what it was? You had to get out of the CAA?
It wasn't so much I had to get out of the CAA, but I think it was kind of just a big transition year for all of us. Townsend, they were always a good team. They play a lot more physical than a lot of the other teams in the CAA, and I think that's the thing that helps them win. At the end of the day, it's all about physicality. It's all about like the dog in you, and I think Townsend brings that every day. I feel like a little underrated guy from Townsend. C-May.
Oh yeah, Christian May.
Yeah, Tyler Tejada. Me and him. We had a little chat during the game. I scouted him a little bit more than C-May, but they're a good team. I feel like they're going to be set up for success next year, but you can't count out Northeastern. You know, they always come in with they got a little dog in them. You know, you never know what to expect from them. So
You can talk trash. You can say to Griffin like, "Hey, how'd all those CAA championships work out for you?" You can bring that up. It's okay. Like,
yeah, a little disappointing season
Yeah.
ending for Townsend this year.
Something about the semifinal round.
Yeah, right.
is
Not so
is
great.
A thorn in the side.
Not so great.
Yeah, a lot of dark horses this year.
Yeah.
Collin, I know on Instagram it's _Collin with 2 L's Metcalf _ correct?
Yes, sir.
And then are you on Twitter? Is it Collin 031-23762? And how have you not changed that handle if that really is you?
I don't really use Twitter that much. You know,
right. That answers that. Go follow him on Instagram is the point. That's what we're trying to say. Collin, great to meet you, man. Can't wait to see you in the fall and see how this group comes together. Really excited about it. Thank you for spending some time with us, and we look forward to being back in touch then, all right?
Will do. And I appreciate you guys having me out here today. Hopefully I can make a big name out here for myself at Maryland, and hopefully the team can go as far as they did last year.
We love the sounds of that, man. Thank you, Collin.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.